Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushak, choose what really matters.
I've said this in the past, facts have never bothered Imran Khan. He bends them the way he wants, diverts them in the direction he likes, and quite often mixes them with fiction. His latest speech at the United Nations General Assembly succeeded on all three counts. It challenged the very limits of reason. This was Imran Khan's third speech at the UNGA, and evidently it was 3 times more disgraceful. He tried to paint Pakistan as victim of terrorism. He promoted the Taliban as a force for good, but he reserved his biggest lies for India. We'll begin with his lies about his own country. Speaking about Pakistan's role in the war on terror, Imran Khan said that Pakistan is wrongly being blamed for the turn of events in Afghanistan, when in fact it has only suffered by becoming an ally of the United States. Those are his words. You must watch this meltdown.
The current situation in Afghanistan, for some reason, Pakistan has been blamed for the turn of events by politicians in the United States and some politicians in Europe. From this platform, I want them all to know the country that suffered the most, apart from Afghanistan, was Pakistan when we joined the US war on terror after 9/11. The only reason we suffered so much was because we became an ally of the US, of the coalition in the war against Afghanistan, where there were attacks being conducted from Afghan soil into Pakistan. At least there should have been a word of appreciation. But rather than appreciation, imagine how we feel when we are blamed for the turn of events in Afghanistan.
Appreciate us, he says. What for? For training terrorists at Pakistani seminaries, for teaching them about jihad, or perhaps for helping them suppress women. Also, Imran Khan speaks as if Pakistan was forced to join this war on terror. It did so voluntarily to suppress Pashtun nationalism. It's something that we have reported on in detail. Islamabad feared the creation of a Pashtun state, so it promoted Islamic nationalism instead. It turned Afghanistan into a mess, which brings us to the Taliban. Imran Khan played their emissary once again. He asked world leaders to strengthen, stabilize, and incentivize the Taliban. It almost felt like the Taliban had sent Imran Khan as their special envoy to the UN. Take a look at what he said.
We must strengthen this current government, stabilize it, for the sake of the people of Afghanistan. What have the Taliban promised? They will respect human rights. They will have an inclusive government. They will not allow this soil to be used by terrorists. And they have given amnesty. Now, if the world community incentivizes them, encourages them to walk this talk, it will be a win-win situation for everyone. Because these are the 4 things that in Doha, when the US was talking to the Taliban, these were the conditions the dialogue was all about. So if the world can incentivize them to go this direction, then after all, this 20-year of presence, of coalition presence in Afghanistan would not be wasted, because Afghan soil would not be used for international terrorism.
Afghanistan would not be used for international terrorism. What's not to believe in this? Every word we say. Afghanistan has already become the new headquarters of jihad, from Al-Qaeda to the Lashkar-e-Toiba to the Lashkar-e-Jangvi, Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Haqqani Network, the Tehreek-e-Taliban, the Islamic State. All of these terror groups and many more have relocated to Afghanistan. They're active again. They're regrouping, expanding, issuing statements on defeating enemies of Islam. We are witnessing a renaissance in global jihad. It's happening right under the Taliban's nose, and Imran Khan wants the world to incentivize them. And then he spoke about India. How could he not? I mean, for the last 74 years, the 74 years of its UNGA membership, Pakistan's sole aim has been to seek parity with India on Kashmir. Well, this time was no different. Imran Khan rattled off a list of concoctions. He called India fascist, a country that is under the reign of fear, a country where Muslims are being persecuted, and Kashmiris being denied their rights. He even accused the West of being biased towards India. Now, we are not going to give him a platform by airing those remarks, because it has become an annual affair for Pakistan to use a global platform to make very personal attacks. This speech is an insult to the United Nations. How did India respond to Imran Khan? With facts. Using the right to reply, India's first secretary at the UNGA, Sneha Dubey, put some facts on the table. She spoke at length about how the entire world has suffered because of Pakistan's policy and how to this day terrorists continue to enjoy a free pass in the country.
Regrettably, this is not the first time the leader of Pakistan has misused platforms provided by the UN to propagate false and malicious propaganda against my country, and seeking in vain to divert the world's attention from the sad state of his country, where terrorists enjoy free pass while the lives of ordinary people, especially those belonging to the minority communities, are turned upside down. Mr. President, member states are aware that Pakistan has an established history and policy of harboring, aiding, and actively supporting terrorists. This is a country which has been globally recognized as one openly supporting, training, financing, and arming terrorists as a matter of state policy. It holds the ignoble record of hosting the largest number of terrorists proscribed by the UN Security Council.
Inam Gambhir, Vidisha Moitra, and now Sneha Dubey, India's brilliant women diplomats, have been giving strong rebuttals to Pakistan's lies. More power to them. As for Imran Khan, his speech at the UNGA was mostly a rant. Perhaps he feels jilted for still not getting that phone call from Joe Biden. Perhaps he feels left out because the Indian leadership got a red carpet reception here. Whatever his issues, his desperation was embarrassing to watch. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushak, choose what really matters.